I can't blame this one on nobody. Hey YouTube, how you doing, baby? How you doing? I hope you're still there. Had a couple people on my YouTube, and I started having some technical difficulties simply because I was rushing to get here. I was doing some things. I was trying to update myself, but honestly, I wanted to do less prep and do more off the cuff. Just give you a little raw emotion without getting overly sensitive. So, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? L with a Z. I see you. I see you. Okay, my YouTube is back. Sorry about that. One, two. My mic sounds nice. Check one. Folks, I'm a little hyped tonight. Like I said, I've been doing this for 3 years now. Some of you guys have been with me since the beginning, and I really, 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 really appreciate that. And some of you guys have come along as the show has progressed. In the beginning, watching me was like watching paint dry. I'm already when I do this, I'm already serious and passionate. But in the beginning, I was just trying to find my niche, trying to find my flow, trying to get into it. So I had some raw days, and when I go back and I watch some of my early videos, like I said, this is my 150th show, people. Some applause, yeah, yeah. Some applause, some applause. I'm gonna need some applause sign. Yeah, yeah, I need something. Yeah, thank you very much, thank you very much. So, YouTube, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Facebook, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Gonna go ahead and get started here. It's 8 minutes past the half hour, and like I said, I'm hyped tonight because of a couple of reasons. We got 26 days to go, so the closer we get to this thing, the more anxiety I feel, but I also feel a sense of relief simply because I've done what I was supposed to do. I've done all I can do, and the rest is on you. So, I don't know. I don't know, folks. What say you? I keep asking you guys, what is it you're willing to fight for? So tonight I'm gonna kind of tell you some contrast, but I'm gonna kind of tell you what I fight for, why I do what I do, and I'm gonna tell you what I think my next step is moving ahead. With that, I'm gonna say good evening and welcome to the show. I want to say, as always, thank you for choosing to spend your Thursday night with me. All of the things you could be doing, as I say, I'm truly humbled that you choose to be here with me, um, watching me with my political antics, if you will. I'm truly humbled, folks. This is my 150th show. I've been doing this for 3 years now. My YouTube people, I want to apologize to. I had some technical difficulties. I was rushing to get on air, and a couple things went a little haywire. We're still having some. I wouldn't call them brownouts, but to digress for just a moment, this being fixing cameras, this being an election year, DeSantis has been playing games with politics. He's trying to make himself look like the super governor, but meanwhile, there are a lot of people 2 weeks later who don't have power, who are just getting power, who don't have internet service, and so forth and so on. So it causes some issues. And I had one said issue tonight, and I was rushing to get back on and doing some other things as well. So, with all of those excuses, I'm done. My name is Hank Batiste. My show is called OMITDALOGIC. This shit makes no sense. Um, a couple things. Before I go any further, I want to let you guys know as we move into the midterm elections, I'm going to change the format. I'm going to change how I do the show. I'm going to change a couple things. I may do a set change as well. sometime in December or maybe the start of the year, you're going to see me get away from just the politics. I think it's heavy handed. It's taken every bit of who I am to stand fast with the politics and try to keep you focused and try to stay focused myself because these midterm elections are just that important. As I've said before, and I will probably say 1,000 times over the next 26 days, what happens in 26 days on November the 8th is going to shape how we live and what we have and so forth and so on for the next 6 years for certain, and probably a whole lot longer. As we've seen the complexion of the U.S. Supreme Court change, and we see some of the things that they're starting to do, and it's strange that the Supreme Court has never been in the news the way it is now, not from the justice's perspective. Usually, if something is coming, being brought to the Supreme Court, has been more about the case and not the court itself. Now, the complexion of the court in true Trump fashion has become belligerent, somewhat outspoken, and somewhat um, we see Clarence Thomas have this need for attention suddenly, and it just bewilders me. So I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna get away from just the politics. When I started this 3 years ago, I started the show because um, an off-duty cop in Dallas shot a young black man, a young, even though he was Haitian, he was black, um, in Dallas, sitting in his living room eating ice cream. She walked into the wrong apartment. She drew her service weapon and she shot and killed this young man. And the catalyst, the thing that provoked me to wanting to do this show was the fact that we saw this young black cop accused of murder, convicted of murder. We saw a black judge, past middle age, come down off the judge's stand, gave the white police officer, a former police officer, now convicted murderer, a Bible and a hug. We saw a black bailiff run her fingers through this convicted murderer's hair as though she were adjusting it for the camera. Because we had such outrage, they decided after the fact that they would address it, and the judge says that she was just moved and she wanted to give her the Bible. And what I was saying is, I would bet $10 to a donut in all of her years of being on the bench that she never came down to give um, anybody a Bible. And if she was consoling anyone, I would have hoped that it was the Jean family for losing their loved one unnecessarily. But she didn't do that. So this national outrage not only propelled me to doing this show, but it caused this whole firestorm, if you will. And since then, I've kind of touched base and see how they've started to try to pull back and change not only her, but the idiot who put his foot on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and killed him up in Minnesota, and they talked about how these former cops who are now convicted murderers, how they're being treated differently simply because they were once law enforcement. Well, my argument to that is they never should have been law enforcement to begin with. It's no more than abuse of power. So it was a current event that served as a catalyst that propelled me to want to do this show. And in doing so, I was talking to my daughter who was doing a radio show as well. And she said that, Dad, you have an audience, you have something to say. I said, yeah, I got something to say. And she made a joke. She's saying, yeah, it must be true. She said it in jest, but she also said it out of admiration because um, my children know that they can come to me when they have something on their head. They have something that they're concerned about. And as a result, my middle daughter in particular, and my oldest daughter, and all of her children turn to me when they need counsel. So I'm moved that they think enough of me. So moving after this election, after these midterm elections, I'm going to change the format of this show. I'm going to do more of the things that affect us. I'm going to take it upon myself to revisit something I did before on dating, not just in the Black community, but as a whole. I'll do it from a couple different perspectives, and hopefully, the next time I send out uh, a feeler, I ask you guys some questions. You guys actually respond to it. So today, folks, I had an epiphany, if you will. After reading and rereading this story about Black folks in Georgia who support Herschel Walker, not because he's Black, not because he's a great humanitarian or a former football player, or what he has to offer. They boldly said they support him over Reverend Warnock simply because they want to see the Trump publicans, the Trump disciples, take Congress back. Folks, I can understand fear. I can understand white fear in a blackening America that really didn't belong to you in the first place, and honestly don't belong to any of us, because just like God sends us hurricanes and reclaim the shores, he can reclaim this at any time. So we should act like guests, not like we have ownership of something. But I digress. I can understand the fear of some white people. I can understand white privilege. I can understand mediocre people like Matt Getz and Marjorie Green who have subpar to average intellect at best. I can understand the people that they represent who have their whole life depended on white privilege. They've not had to try as hard. We, on the other hand, 90% of us were raised in Black communities where we were told time and time again, you have to work 10 times as hard to be thought half as good. And that's crazy simply because excellence should be everybody's focus. Everybody should want to be the best version of themselves that they can be. But some people, they rely on what I call a spoil system. And that's what white privilege is. They know someone and that person gives them a job, even if they're not competent at doing the job. They either grow into the job or the job in the position suffers. And we've seen that. So when I see white people appeal to a Matt Getz, who's a child pornographer, who's a pedophile, who's a degenerate, sad to say he represents some people just like him. And the Marjorie Green, and now they're talking about even the people in her community that she supposedly represents are starting to lose faith in her because she's a bully and she's not very knowledgeable. Well, when I see these black folks say, and white folks as well, but black folks especially because they have two candidates that they can choose from, both of which are black. They could choose to vote for Reverend Warnock, who knows what he's doing, who's represented himself very well over the last couple of years, or they could choose to go with brain dead Walker, who's lied time and time and time and time again, and who's proven that his only reason for seeking the job is to support an ongoing coup. So tonight's show is aptly titled Because We Want Congress Back. And that's part of the quote of these black folks. And I'm reminded, honestly, of what some folks must have felt during slavery. Certainly Harriet Tubman and others who were seeking their freedom. And other folks who were saying, well, at least on the plantation, I know that I'm going to be taken care of. So if this is not the epitome of mediocrity, if this is not the epitome of self-hate, I don't know what is. Folks, my name is Hank Batiste. This is OMITDALOGIC. Certainly this shit makes no sense, but I'm going to try to make some sense of it. Time and time again, I've been asking you, what is it that you're willing to fight for? I ask you this question because when I see these Trump publicans, when I see these Trump disciples who are like Energizer bunnies, they don't get tired. They're more tenacious than a pit bull with a locked jaw biting into something. On one hand, I have to admire their tenacity. But on the other hand, I'm pissed. Because, like I said, I've been doing this for 3 years now. My numbers fluctuate. One moment I'll have 75 people, then I'll have 10. Some nights I might have none at the time. And I understand that this time may not always be a good time for everybody. It may not always be convenient week in and week out for those folks who want to hear what I have to say. But I have over 1,800 people on one Facebook page and about 800 people on the other Facebook page. And there's some crossover, but there's some people that's exclusive. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, I have 2,000 people that follow me in my antics. And of those people, some of these people, they're afraid. Unlike the Trump publicans, they fear nothing. Some folks will say, well, man, I listen to you and what have you, but, I'm like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And then when I think about these people, I'm just bewildered. But it's not just them. I post something today and I asked again, what are you willing to fight for? And I posted under the guise of the same article of these black people who admit that Herschel has nothing to offer, but it's a means to an end. And it's just more of the same when we look at the Ron Johnsons and the Marjorie Greens and the Mac Getz and the list goes on and on and on. And you ask yourself, how did these people get elected to begin with? And then you hear somebody say it's a means to an end. We don't care who they are. Once upon a time, it was about one person facing off against another person. They called it a debate. But it was to show voters what they stood for. And nowadays, no more. Herschel doesn't feel the need to debate Warnock because he's not worried about people voting for him. Those people that vote for him are going to do so simply because of not what he stands for, but who he stands with or who he stands behind. And the only thing that angers me more than them is those of us who don't respond when we ask, what is it you're willing to fight for? So I say, is it your children? Is it to hold on to a house? Is it to hold on to a car, nice clothes, whatever? And all of these material things that are gone. Hmm. Those people that stand idly by and do nothing, or even in my eyesight, worse than these people that boldly stand up and say, we're supporting Herschel because we want to be a part of something, even if it doesn't work for us. We know our place. And subservient is good for me. Because I know as long as I'm on this plantation, as long as I know my place, I'll be taken care of. I can't understand it. The only thing I can't understand more is those of us who stand idly by and do nothing. Those of you that have things to do, somebody just said, I'm sorry, I'm late. Somebody just came in. Some people popped in and popped out. All of that's fine. See, in 26 days, on November the 8th, come hell or high water, my focus will shift from trying to educate the masses and motivate and keep people engaged. My focus is going to shift to November 10th, and yours truly turning 63. Folks, I am truly, 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 truly blessed. I don't take any medicine. I've got my aches and pains, some of which I probably never would have had I not sustained some injuries by way of an assault in the Marine Corps. But that's neither here nor there because I'm still so much better. My mom's always said, son, when you think you got it bad, look around you and you see some people in a whole lot worse situation. So my focus is going to shift. Around the beginning of the year, like I said, I'm going to change the format. I'm not just going to focus on politics anymore. I'm going to focus on the things that move me in our community, not just the Black community, because I'm not just Black. But my focus is my Black folks, because I want to see you do better. I want to see your children and your children's children. I want to make sure that they have someone to come to. When my children come to me, that's bigger than all the money in the bank that I could have. Well, okay, not all the money. My point is this: it makes me feel like what I do is about legacy. When you guys come in, week out, whether I have 550 or 500, I'm going to give you the same amount of me. I'm going to give you my best effort week in, week out. And sometimes I get overwhelmed with emotion because that's who I am. That's what I do. So as my show takes on a different complexion, as my show evolves, the business that I started, the nonprofit that I started, I'm going to shift the focus of it as well. I'm going to start getting involved in this local community. I'm going to start walking more of the walk. Now that it appears that we have, say a quick prayer. Now that it appears that we have COVID in our rearview mirror, now that it appears that we've gotten back to more of what we might call a sense of normalcy, now I can get involved. People keep asking me, why aren't you teaching? I may look into that. I don't know. But I know the focus of this show is going to shift. When I see so many people my age having health issues, and I feel like there's something I can contribute to that conversation, that's going to be something that we talk about. When I see people my age in the golden years of their life, and they don't have a significant other, and I see all the challenges of dating, myself included, it's because we've been systematically programmed. I don't know if you would call it brainwashing, but it makes it hard for us to just talk amongst ourselves. If we're scared to discuss politics, imagine how hard it is for us to talk about things of the heart. So I may talk about some of that as well. Not that I'm Dr. Root or Yanla fixing nobody's life. I've had people turn to me. I don't call myself a life coach, but I know I have something to offer. So 26 days, folks. But let me shift gears. I keep asking you, what are you willing to fight for? I keep talking about those people that have a sense of purpose because they've bought into the hateful rhetoric of Trumpology, Trump politics, white fear, and all that's associated with that. And I keep telling you time and time again, I do this because I want to make sure that those children that I fight for. My granddaughter called me and told me that my great grandson, who's now in kindergarten, They had a freaking, they live in Mississippi, about 45 miles outside of New Orleans. And New Orleans is the Wild West now. The New Orleans that exists is not the New Orleans that I grew up in. So I felt good about them having a nice piece of property out you know, in Mississippi, even though it's Mississippi. I felt the good and the bad about that is they would be safe. And for a 5-year old to have to go through an active shooter, it's bad enough when it happens in Texas, Uvalde, or Oklahoma, or in all of these places, Philadelphia, or in South Florida. And I care for the families because I have compassion. But it's different when it affects me personally. So this is what I'm willing to fight for. When I see these people that put other shit aside just to belong, to be a part of something that's that hateful, that people turn their hate towards not only others, but innocent children. And to add insult to injury, my granddaughter is black, her husband is white, and their kids are multicultural. I don't say biracial because shit, I'm biracial. I'm quadracial. So without 23andMe or Ancestry.com, and I see people do things simply because they've been brainwashed by all of this hateful rhetoric, I feel a need to sit here week in and week out, regardless to who shows up, to make sure that I do my part, as small as this is. See, all of these YouTube videos and all of this is going to be here probably after I'm gone. And somebody will probably find them. And somebody might say he was ahead of his time. Somebody might say he had something to say. I know they won't say I was a drum major for justice. But like Martin, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? So that's what I'm willing to fight for. I'm willing to fight to keep you motivated that in 26 days, enough of you will infect others to do the right thing. I've already admitted to you, just like the Trump Republicans, we're having to time and time and time again select the lesser of two evils. Just like they're voting for Herschel because they want to take back Congress, I say let's vote for the Warnocks. Even if you don't agree with everything that he says, let's vote for these people because we don't want to see them take back Congress. Whether you believe in abortion, whether you believe in climate change, whether you believe in inflation, whether you believe in all of these things that have been quote unquote hotbed issues, whether you believe in voting rights, whether you believe your vote counts or not, I implore you to do so because simply is this. It's as simple as this. If it didn't mean anything, A, why are they doing it? And B, why they're trying to stop us from doing it. So in 26 days, show up and show out. I don't care if you agree with what I have to say. Find it within yourself so that your sons and your grandsons and your great grandsons don't have to deal with the shit that these kids are dealing with now. One minute they're coloring in a book, they're doing ABCs and numbers, and the next minute they're being told to hide under their freaking desks and lock the door. Because one group of our culture, of our society, has decided that they are going to steal this by any means necessary. Folks, that's all I got for you tonight. Thank you for tuning in. This is my 150th show. I hate to be so heavy handed. Stand with me, fight with me. The fight isn't for me. Understand that. So, November the 8th, you're tired of hearing it. I'm tired of saying it. You know what you got to do. 26 days, put it on your calendar. If you got early voting, you know what to do. Right now, I want you to do the same thing I asked you week in, week out. Before you go to my YouTube, sign up, bada boom, bada bing. Subscribe, ring the bell, share it with some other people. Simply because I could stand up here and TikTok, I could dance, but that shit ain't doing nothing. Every time I see somebody with this damn leg shaking video, I said, "Do you realize you're helping a pedophile who pissed on a 14-year-old kid, little girl?" Go to my YouTube, sign up, subscribe, share it with others, share this with somebody. 150 shows, folks. 3 years I've been doing this now. Thank you for being here. My heart goes out to you. Your support, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm teary-eyed and pissed all at the same time. But I'll see you here next week. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. And as always, in parting, I wish you love. I wish you peace and hair grease. Your man is out. That's all I got. Good night. Thank you, YouTube. I had some issues, man. I'm glad y'all came back, hung in, and did what you do, and you do what you do.